The relentless African sun blazed down on the savanna as a young rhino wandered away from the herd. His mother had briefly turned her attention to some particularly succulent grass, giving the inquisitive calf the chance to roam far from her side. Captivated by the vibrant flowers dancing in the breeze, he hopped from one spot to another, unaware that he had ventured into an unfamiliar area of the savanna. The tall grass whispered softly beneath his tiny feet, and in the distance, the melodic calls of exotic birds filled the air. Along the way, the calf encountered various animals: gazelles, meerkats, and giraffes. All of them watched the little rhino cautiously, instinctively sensing the danger of his being alone in the savanna. Suddenly, the baby stopped, noticing a change in his surroundings. The air felt heavier, as if filled with tension, and the usual sounds of the savanna faded. The little rhino's heart began to beat faster when he noticed movement in the tall grass in the distance. A bird let out a piercing cry, warning other animals of danger. Termites hurriedly disappeared into their earth, and small rodents burrowed deeper into their holes. Despite his young age, the calf's instincts already warned him of the dangers of the African savanna. In the herd, he had often seen adult rhinos become alert when predators appeared from the bushes. Figures of lions slowly emerge, their muscular bodies shimmering in the sunlight, and their eyes full of hunting excitement. The pride was surrounding the little rhino, methodically closing in. The calf looked around, instinctively searching for the protection of the herd, but there were only lions, 8 adult predators, each of them much larger than him. At that moment, an ancient survival instinct awakened in the little rhino. The fear did not go away, but it was joined by a natural determination to defend his life. His posture changed, his legs pressed firmly into the ground, preparing for defense. The largest lioness made the first move, but the calf, driven by instinct, suddenly turned and tried to strike her with his small horn. The lioness jumped back, not expecting such a reaction from young prey. Usually, baby animals either froze in fear or tried to run away. The dust raised during the struggle slowly settled in the afternoon sun. Drops of sweat ran down the little rhino's sides, and his breathing became more rapid. In the distance, silhouettes of antelopes stood frozen, watching the unusual scene, while vultures circling high in the sky flew lower, sensing a possible meal. This gave the calf more confidence, and he continued to defend himself, turning around and trying to keep all the predators in sight. Each time a lion or lioness got too close, he shook his head threateningly and tried to strike them. His small horn, though not strong enough to cause serious harm, still forced the predators to keep their distance. The baby rhino began to make warning sounds, not as loud as those of adult rhinos, but strong enough to show his determination. He stomped his feet, kicking up dust and displaying defensive behavior typical of his kind. The lions moved with the grace of experienced hunters, their muscles shifting beneath their golden fur with every movement. Their tails twitched nervously, revealing their focus and tension. The youngest member of the pride shifted impatiently from paw to paw, his inexperience contrasting with the careful movements of the older lions. The lions were puzzled by such an unusual reaction. Hunting young animals was usually quick, but this calf was showing unexpected resistance. Their hunting instincts sharpened, and they began making false attacks one after another, trying to wear him out. Despite his natural toughness, the calf was beginning to tire. His young body was not ready for such a long fight. One of the younger lions seized the moment and managed to scratch the baby's side, making him let out a sharp cry of pain that echoed across the savanna. But even injured, he kept fighting, driven by a powerful instinct to survive. This cry reached his mother, who had been searching for her calf for a long time. The huge female rhino charged through the savanna, guided by her motherly instinct. She pushed through the thick bushes, breaking branches and leaving a wide trail in the tall grass. Her massive legs kicked up the red African soil, and her heavy breathing frightened the small animals that crossed her path. Sweat covered her gray skin, making it look almost black under the bright sunlight. Seeing the pride surrounding her baby, she immediately rushed to his defense. With a loud roar, she stormed into the circle of predators, scattering them with her massive body. The lions backed away but did not give up, still circling around and looking for a weak spot in the defense. Now, the mother shielded her calf with her body, while he continued to show surprising resilience for his age. The mother rhino drove the lions away with powerful charges while the calf stayed close, still ready to defend himself. The predators were persistent and experienced. They knew that sooner or later the rhinos would get tired, and they attacked from all sides, skillfully dodging the heavy horn of the mother. At one moment, a lion almost reached the calf, but he reacted instantly, striking the predator with his small horn right on the nose, forcing it to retreat. This instinctive move turned out to be effective, and the lions became even more cautious. The hot wind carried the scent of the approaching rhino herd. The ground trembled slightly under their heavy footsteps, and even the smallest creatures of the savanna could feel the vibrations. Small birds flew out of the bushes, making way for the approaching giants. The dust kicked up by their feet formed a cloud visible from afar. The herd of rhinos lined up in a half circle, creating a living barrier. Their impressive horns and massive bodies posed a serious threat to the predators. The lions slowly began to retreat but were still waiting for the right moment to strike, driven by hunger. At that moment, the sound of engines roared. The park rangers' jeeps were approaching. The rangers drove carefully, trying not to make unnecessary noise. Their uniforms, faded from the sun, blended with the colors of the savanna. Each of them had radios on their belts, crackling with occasional messages from the base. Seeing the humans, the lions finally withdrew, setting off to find easier prey. The rangers stopped at a safe distance. An experienced veterinarian, noticing the cow's injuries, pulled out his worn leather medical bag, which had helped him many times in similar situations. Waiting for the herd to calm down a bit, he carefully approached the rhinos. Used to the presence of rangers, they allowed him to examine the baby. The veterinarian treated the calf's wounds, applied bandages, and gave him antibiotics to prevent infection. All this time, the mother stayed close, watching the man's actions carefully. Once he was sure that the baby would be fine, the rangers returned to their duties, leaving the rhinos under the protection of the herd. As the rangers drove away, the herd of rhinos gradually made their way to the nearest water bowl. The sun was setting, casting a warm golden glow over the savanna. The little rhino, limping slightly yet holding his head high, walked alongside his mother. His wounds had been treated, but the adrenaline from the earlier encounter still surged through him. Above, a flock of pink flamingos soared, their calls echoing the conclusion of this remarkable day. Nature had demonstrated how even the smallest rhino could exhibit extraordinary courage in the face of danger. His instinctive resilience, his mother's protection, and the timely arrival of the herd all contributed to his survival during one of the most perilous moments of his life.